Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Filming another video early in the morning, so kind of waking up together here. And what I'm going to be doing this morning is smelling 10 completely unhinged beast mode fragrances. Beast fragrances, powerful fragrances, whatever. By completely unhinged, I don't mean that they're actually completely insane, but they got a punch. Yeah, each one of these has got a heft to it, and some of these are fragrances that people are kind of afraid of, so that's fun. So I'm just going to kind of run through these, smell them all this morning, and just talk about it as we go, so let's jump into it. Like I said, we've got some strong fragrances here today. We've got some that are really animalic. Got some that have got a bit of a funk to them. Now I want to kick things off with this one, just because I think the house is awesome. Haven't really talked about them much at all, but it's Beaufort, London, and this one is Rake and Ruin. I actually got this from Max Aroma. If you're unaware of Max Aroma, awesome discounter. They've got niche fragrances, indie fragrances, designer fragrances. I'm gonna link them in the description, and I'll link all these fragrances in the description too. Cool thing about Max Aroma is that they keep adding new brands all the time, which is actually where I eyeballed this one and picked it up because I saw them add a bunch of fragrances from this house, and it's a house that I want to dive into a little bit more. So this is the first full bottle that I've got. So this is Rake in Ruin, and this is a house that's got kind of, for me anyway, this really dark, almost gothic feel to it. All their fragrances seem to be super freaking powerful. And oh, I can smell it already from the atomizer. So here's the bottle. Haven't sprayed it. I can smell it already. But yeah, it's got this really cool gothic feel, really powerful fragrances. They use notes that you wouldn't expect to see, stuff like gunpowder, or I think even blood accords sometimes. Am I wrong about that? Could be. On a tester strip, not on myself. One thing that I think is pretty cool with this is on the website for the brand, they say they come in powerful 30% eau de parfum concentrations. And when I read that, I was like, dude, you mean extrait de parfum? That's what you meant to say. Yeah, this is not for the faint-hearted. This has got a punch. So this one is really smoky. Now, when I say smoky, a lot of you probably think incense. So you got this nice, like, little spicy smokiness. No, man, I'm talking smoke. Like wood smoke smacking you in the face, just blasting your nose right out the back of your head. There's lots of woodiness going on in here. There's also kind of a gin accord because this is supposed to smell like basically like a tavern with old woods, smoke, alcohol, and it's also supposed to have kind of this like lecherous feel to it, like where there's a lot of debauchery going on. That's how this one's supposed to be. So you've got this animalic side to it as well. And I love it. I think it smells awesome. And I think it is gonna be so hard for 99% of people to wear. You gotta have some confidence when you throw that one on, my guys. Let's keep it moving. Oh boy. Let's do Bull's Blood next. It's been a minute since I've smelled this. Bull's Blood from Imaginary Authors. You got the notes on the back like usual. This one's got patchouli, Spanish rose, costus root, tobacco, black musk, and of course, bull's blood. Because who doesn't want to smell like a bull who's bleeding all over you? The rose that's in here is like powdery in a way that reminds me of like an old building or something. Like stepping into a building that has that sort of mustiness in the air, where as soon as you walk in, you're like, oh yeah, so this was built when? The 1910s? That makes sense. Now off skin, it's got a little more funk to it. It's a little bit harder to wear off skin, but off a tester strip, I actually really like the way it smells. That makes me weird, I guess, because a lot of people find this one unwearable, but I gotta say, it sticks in the back of your throat. Yeah, there it is. You get this kind of coppery feeling that works its way into your actual throat and settles on top of your Adam's apple. So you're smelling it and you're like, nice. That's good. That's another one that's going to be a little challenging. I gotta say though, I still like it. It's been a while, but it's good to be reacquainted with you, Bull's Blood. Now this one I think is going to be a bit easier. 1740 from Histoires de Parfums. This is Marquis de Sade. So they're kind of playing into the whole Marquis de Sade thing by making this a leathery fragrance. Yeah, that's actually just really nice. There's really not a whole lot funky about that one. This one was part of my Twisted Lily collection, where I had like certain samples that I chose for like fall and winter time. They sold out a long time ago, but this was one of my selections for that. TwistedLily.com, Gents 10, whole website, 10% off. But yeah, this smells actually just really nice. It's kind of a vanilla leather scent. It's pleasant. Bit of spice, touch of resins. This is actually the easiest one to wear by far, and it actually probably will be of the whole bunch. Next up, Amouage Myths Man. Been a while. I have not sprayed this on, and I couldn't tell you how long. It came up in a Beast Mode Gents live stream that I did, where somebody asked me about it, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, it's been a minute since I've sprayed on Myths. Let's smell it. Because when this first came out, I wasn't really a huge fan. That's because it has an ashiness to the scent. So when you smell this, imagine just the ashes falling off of something that's burned right into your fragrance that's sitting there, and then you just kind of stir it up and put it on anyway. Ooh, I like this though. Yeah. Maybe the stance has softened. Ashiness, leather, touch of iris. Actually surprisingly smooth, even with that ashiness all throughout. It's not super easy to wear, so that would be the thing that you could knock it on, you know. A lot of Amouage fragrances, they go into that Middle Eastern style with this richness and this opulence and all this other stuff. And they're maybe not the easiest fragrance house to wear with some of their releases, but most of them, they carry that richness through and make you smell like $1 million. This one, a little more trying to wear. And by that I mean a little harder to wear. Not bad. We're waking up in a positive mood here today. Now I've got 2 Montales and 2 Manceras, so let's tackle those. This one I just grabbed because it's one I'm not really familiar with. I've owned it for a long time, but I think I've worn it a grand total of once. So let's see. Nepal Oud from Montale. Now with Montale and Mancera, they have just ridiculous numbers of oud fragrances, and so often they just fall into this whole oud, rose, saffron thing, or just oud, rose. And at some point you just have to ask yourself, do you really need another one? I don't think so. You look at the whole catalog, they've got a ton of fragrances, these two houses, and they're linked, Montale and Mancera. So they have all these releases, and so many of them are just centered on those 2 or 3 notes. They all run together in my mind at some point. It's like, oh yeah, that one, that's a good rose oud. Oh, that one, yeah, that's also a good rose oud. Yeah, that one also is a rose oud, and so is that one, and 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 that one. Oh my God, they're all the same. Just runs together, and then you're just thinking of the like little nuances between them that make them different. At some point, it's like, okay, I got it, dude. You like oud, you like rose, and you like a little saffron. Very original. Anyway, let's smell this one. Ah, that's pretty nice. This one's not too bad. This rose, oud, and saffron with a bit of leather comes across a little more masculine than some of the Montale and Mancera rose ouds do. Sometimes they get really powdery, and then they start leaning more toward the feminine side. This one I'd say is unisex, but that leather makes it a little more masculine. Surprisingly for a Montale oud, it's not too harsh, not too scratchy or screechy or annoyingly cloying, because sometimes oud fragrances from Montale especially can just be like a synthetic nightmare where you smell it and it singes your nose hairs. But this one is pretty well done. It's pretty smooth. I like it. Now Mancera, Black to Black. Not to be confused with By Killian, Back to Black, or AC/DC, Back to Black. This is just black to black. And this is also rose and oud. It's got kind of a sweetness to it, this underlying rosy, jammy sweetness. Some people probably find it slightly feminine leaning. Nice, warm spiciness, and actually the more I smell it, the more I think it's actually just unisex. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had this bad boy sprayed out. Look at that though, not much left. Yeah, let me contrast this to the Montale. Yeah, they're both pretty smooth actually. Beastly performance on those things, but I like them both. Despite the unholy performance on these, most of them have been pretty smooth. Next up, Laudano Nero from Tiziana, Terenzi. I got the cap. I just already took it off. It's got like a what is that? Like a slight bubblegum kind of sweetness right off the top, although I know it's not an overly sweet scent. Off a tester strip. I like that. It's got this really almost sickly sweet booziness off the top, which smells surprisingly good. Better than sickly sweet booziness sounds. Because if you say that, you know, something is sickly, sweet, and boozy, that doesn't bring to mind the greatest image. It's got this nice contrast of darker notes and woodiness posted up against like honeyed sweetness and a little bit of freshness. This was compared for a long time to Black Afghano from Nasamato. Yeah, I don't know how close it is though. We've got 3 to go. I know I said I was gonna do the Manceras and the Montales, but like I already took a break in between them. So next up, Zoologist Bat. This is the original Bat. This is not the new formulation of Bat. Oh, that's strong, baby. It just invaded my nose and my throat. God, that's strong. That's got a punch. So like I was trying to say, this one has been reformulated under the Zoologist line. So if you buy Bat now, it's not this Bat, it's a different Bat. I'm sorry, it's really strong. It's like all over me. Somehow I got like my arm and the tester strip, and but I'm loving it. You know what it's like? Completely separate thing. It doesn't smell like this, but this is like the olfactive version of wasabi. So you smell it, and sometimes it kind of takes away your ability to speak for a moment, but not because you're not enjoying. When you get a bunch of wasabi and put that on a piece of sushi, pop it in your mouth, it's gonna affect you, but you still enjoy it. So it's like that. This is olfactive wasabi. Anyway, for like the 12th time, this is now available as Night Flyer from Olympic Orchids. So this formula on the inside here, you can get that just underneath a different house, a different name. Not to delve into the politics or anything, but the original perfumer of Bat, Dr. Ellen Covey, took it back. So that's why it's now under her house, under a different name. This stuff rules. Like it really rules. It is absolutely the kind of fragrance that I pull out and smell just because I want to smell it, but I don't wear it. It's that kind of scent. Some people would say that's like a party trick, you know, like a novelty act where you go like, oh, look at this. And then you have somebody unsuspecting come up and go, what is that, good sir? It smells like a cave. That's because it's Bat, you fool, you old cranky knave. You got me once again, Johnson. You scumbag. I imagine that's what happens. Yeah, so it is that type of scent for me, but I absolutely adore this stuff, and I am so glad that I have it. I was absolutely one of those people who waited until the last moment, and then it was discontinued, or announced that it was discontinued, and then I bought a bottle. That was me. It smells like you have gone into a fruit bat's cave. It has that dankness, that darkness, but at the same time, it's offset by some realistic fruit notes that just course throughout the scent. Love it. Up next, let's do this one. Mancera Gold Intensitive Oud. It's not intensive, it's gold intensive. I don't know. Like when you go from Bat to this seems like just a walk in the park, frankly. It's like gold intensive oud. Can you stand the power? Yeah. So this is another rosy, woody scent, more of a focus on rose. Again, unisex, black to black, I think, especially as that started to settle, it was more masculine, actually leaning. Unisex leaning masculine, this one's unisex leaning feminine. I like it, but might be the least interesting fragrance I've smelled so far today. Last one, Oud Leather from Montale. You got two powerful things going on here. You've got oud, you got leather. You put them together, you get oud leather. And that smells like not great off the top. Smells like very chemically, very chemically synthetic. That's something you're gonna run into with Montale fragrances from time to time, is that when you spray them on, they've got this kind of just synthetic nature to them. And especially with some of the oud fragrances, like I talked about before, that can really flub up the fragrance. You know, you'll spray it on and be like, how much is that? No, thank you. And this has got a bit of that off the top, off the tester strip anyway. Now, it's not overwhelming. It's not that bad. There are much worse fragrances in the Montale catalog if we're talking just getting walloped with a wall of stank. Once it settles, it's nice, and it is essentially Montale's take on Tuscan leather from Tom Ford. Longevity on this, forever. I mean, all of these. You spray these on your skin, you're gonna be there the next day. So this one is like Tuscan leather if you amped up the performance even more, but then you stripped out a little bit of the smoothness, made it a little bit harsher, made it a better value though, because you can pick this up for less than Tuscan leather, so better value, and added a little bit of that Montale oud to go along with it. So that's kind of what it's like. Once it settles though, it's good. It's good. You gotta let it settle though. It's one of those scents, man. You spray that on, smell it right away. You're gonna be like, what have I done here? I made a terrible mistake. This is a fun way to open up the day. Wow. All right, guys. I'm gonna go make some breakfast. Thanks for hanging out with me again today. We'll do this again sometime soon. Maybe not this, but the early morning thing before I get started in the day. All right, guys, wherever you are, hope you have an awesome day. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you all later. Oh, let me know which one of these you like the most if you smelled any of them. All right.